Hello Stampin' friends, it's Ayana Johnston here with another Check This Out Stampin' Up video tutorial to show you. Today I want to show you how I made this very vanilla Lighthearted Leaves card. You can get the supply list for this card on my blog at www.checkthisout.stampinup.net. And be sure to stop by my website for some more great ideas and some great customer order specials. Okay, let's get started making this card. For this card, you're going to need two stamp sets. The first one you'll need is the Lighthearted Leaves stamp set, and you're going to need this leaf down below, and this sentiment. Next, you'll need the Gorgeous Grunge stamp set, and we'll be using this splotchy design up top here. For cardstock, you're going to need a sheet of Tangelo Twist cut at 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Next, we need a bunch of very vanilla sheets of paper. Thus, I call it very vanilla card. So this one's cut at 4 inches by 5 1/4. This next one is cut at 3 3/8 by 3 3/4. This other one is cut at 3 3/4 by 5 inches. And then we have a rather large sheet of scrap piece of paper to cut our leaves out with. For stamp pads, you're going to need 4. You're going to need the Tangerine Tangle, the Lost Lagoon, Crumb Cake, and Blackberry Bliss. You're also going to need Versamark ink. So let's get started making this card. We're going to use our Versamark ink first, and then we're also going to take our sheet of cardstock that is measured at 3 3/4 by 5 inches, and we're going to stamp our leaf image all around it. I'm also going to stamp this leaf image twice on my scrap piece of paper, and I'm going to stamp this leaf image on the scrap piece of paper as well, all in Versamark ink. Then I'm going to heat emboss it with some clear embossing powder. Oops, I grabbed my iridescent ice. I wanted to actually grab my clear embossing powder, so I'm going to grab that real fast. Now that I've heat embossed all of those, next I'm going to want to take my beautiful leaflet framelit dies. I want to take the largest leaf, and then I also want to take the other kind of medium set leaf, and I want to run these through my Big Shot and cut out these 3 leaves that I went ahead and heat embossed. So let me run these through my Big Shot. Now once you have all your pieces ran through your Big Shot, we can go ahead and start this wonderful process of masking. You're going to want to take a sheet of sticky paper, cover off one corner so that way you don't get any ink on the other edges. And what I'm going to do is with the first side, I'm going to go ahead and ink it up with Blackberry Bliss. And I'm going to use the sponging technique and just come in with a sponge. Then you'll see me reverse it on the other side, and I'm going to use Lost Lagoon on the other side and then sponge in that as well. And then in the middle I'm going to use Tangerine Tangle and sponge in that leftover piece. And then there you have your background piece of paper. You're just going to want to take some tissue paper or tissue or paper towel and kind of get the excess ink off of the embossed image. We're going to set this aside. Next we're going to take our leaves and we're going to sponge over them with each different color. Lost Lagoon, Blackberry Bliss, and the Tangerine Tango. Okay, now that I sponged all the colors on my images, now we're ready to go ahead and adhere our card all together. So I'm going to start with my card base, and then I'm going to adhere the pieces of the Very Vanilla, and then we're going to go ahead and adhere the top pieces next. Now, before we adhere this piece, we actually do want to do a little bit more stamping. We're going to take the Gorgeous Grunge piece, or stamp, with the crumb cake, and we're going to blotch all around it, and then I'm going to ink around it with the crumb cake as well. Next, I'm going to adhere the strip of ribbon that I have. It's the Tangelo Twist ribbon that's on clearance. I'm going to adhere this to the bottom with some fine fuse, and then I'm going to adhere a thanks as well from the Expressions Natural Elements. So I'm going to adhere a thanks, then you're going to see me adhere the leaves, and then I'm going to adhere this to my card. And then you can actually use a couple different things. You can go ahead and use 2A glue for this. I'm actually going to use some Mono Tumble glue for my thanks. Be careful because they're very fragile. One thing I just should have done was I should have waited to glue on my thanks. So I'm going to be gentle with the snail. And I'll give this one a little time to dry since I put the thanks on with the glue. And for those of you that like to do the inside of your card, that's why I asked you to cut out or actually you'll need to cut out one more piece of Very Vanilla in a size of 4 inches by 5 1/4, and then I just stamp the inside with the stamp sentiment and then use these leaves as a beautiful border. I hope you enjoyed this video. Be sure to stop on my blog to visit or to see some more great ideas and some great customer order specials. Happy stamping!